All right, we'll open up for questions for Jamai Felt and Braelon Green.
Question for both of you guys. It really felt like the offense started to click second half, last game against Davidson. How much of that carried over to this game, and how much of it was that continuity building in that second half last game?
Yeah, so in the second half of Davidson, we came out. We just played as a team. And I think Coach, the last few days, he instilled that into us. And that's what it continues in the next game.
And then for Jamai, your first points collegiately for Bowling Green. What was it like after being here the past 2 years, not being able to get on the court to finally get those first points for you?
I'm grateful. It's been a long road, and I'm just excited to keep going and just keep improving, keep winning.
And then Braelon, you felt like you had one of your better games for sure as a Falcon. You went 7 for 9 from the field, 15 points, led the team in assists. What was it about tonight that had you going good?
I think Coach, it was early in shoot around. He just told me to play my game. I've been down for like the last few weeks, and I think he instilled that confidence in me. And I think it was a big push for me mentally.
After a couple close losses to begin the season, how good is this for you guys as a team to have a win in this fashion moving forward, especially with Michigan State coming up as your next matchup?
It's great. We're gonna definitely move forward and continue to do the same things, the right things, and just come out and get another win.
I mean, question to both of you guys. It just felt like the offense had everything put together today. You guys scored 100 points. You guys scored so many points that there was a 0 up on the scoreboard for a little bit because they weren't fully prepared to put up 100 points. How does that feel as a team, just be able to go out there and perform offensively like that?
It feels good, but we can't get complacent knowing that we have to play Michigan State next week, and that's going to be a big challenge for us, but I think we're ready for it.
And how have the coaches like instilled that in you? Like when you have a good game, like you still have to be like prepared for the next one. How have they been teaching you guys that over these past couple weeks?
I think they just tell us to be happy for this game, but not too happy for the future because we have bigger things. So.
And when it came to like just, it felt like you guys were putting together on all levels of the game. You guys scored 40 points off turnovers. He scored 44 points in the paint, 16 points off second chance points. Like, what does it say about this team when you guys can put it all together like that to have with like an offensive performance like this?
Just continue to push the ball, get it down the floor fast, and just score as many points as possible. That's what Coach definitely told us to do. So that's really it.
Any more questions?
After a couple of tough first halves to open the season, how fun was it out there tonight to get off to that strong start? First half, you guys, everybody contributed. 12 players scored 5 points apiece for all 12 of those players. Fun celebrations on the bench. Just how fun was the atmosphere tonight to get contributions from everyone?
It was real fun. Freshman Jackson came in, produced immediately. Greg came in, Preston came in. Everybody came in and put forward to help the team win. So it was real fun. We all cheering each other on, and just gonna continue to keep doing that and move to the next game with the same attitude.
One thing through the first 3 games for you guys, through the ups and downs that you've had so far, has been that the shooting has not gone away, especially the 3-point shooting. How much confidence has that given you guys that even though you didn't have the results the first 2 games, that you guys still had the pieces there to make a winning team for the season?
I mean, shots aren't going to fall all the time, but we know we can predict, like we can make sure we do defense and make sure all the other aspects of basketball are perfect so we don't have to rely on making shots.
Any more questions? All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Coach, if you want to start with an opening statement, then we'll open up for questions.
Yeah, first, want to recognize Veterans Day. We're certainly grateful for all those that have served, and want to certainly mention that. But a good game. Good to put 40 good minutes together. We've seen spurts in these first 2 games, and we wanted to show some consistency of effort, consistency of focus. and communication. And I thought we did a good job of that, and getting those stops because of that turned into a lot of points. And this team can certainly score in bunches, and with our focus on the defensive end and rebounding, I think that part of the game will get even better.
How good was this for you guys as a team to see it finally click and just put the first 2 games, even though you guys played well in the second halves of those, to put those results behind you and see what this team full potential can do?
Yeah, I mean, every one of these games are so important. I mean, it's incredibly important for these guys. I mean, 9 of the 13 guys that got in really have not played much Division I basketball, right? And so we throw them into the fire and two challenging teams right out the gate, and so there's a lot to clean up, and they learning the margins of victory. 4 guys can be doing something right. You get one breakdown, and it's a bucket. So, today was a good response. We had a couple challenging practices to clean up some things, and we wanted to see the intensity. We wanted to see the clean basketball, and they produced that. So, that feels good, because then they feel the result.
3rd season here, Jamai finally gets his first points as the Falcon, and then off the bench, Jackson Pardon gets his first collegiate points. How good was it to see both those 2 guys get their first points in the orange and brown?
Yeah, no, I mean, Jamai, just an incredible story. Just a tale of perseverance to come back from not just one, but 2 ACL injuries and a couple other injuries that he's mixed in between. And just the mental toughness to see how he's grown as a young man is the most important thing for me. And now he's maturing before our eyes, and to see him, be able to produce out there and let him play through some mistakes. I mean, this is, in his first real extended time as a Division I player, and he did a great job.
And then you guys have started slow, obviously, 2 of the first 3 games. That wasn't the story here today, just 1 turnover in that first half. How much of an emphasis have you guys put on getting out of the gates fast and getting that ball control better?
Yeah, I think there's an adjustment period. There's an antsiness when you haven't played. 3/5 of our starting lineup really hasn't played a lot of Division I. Yo-Yo didn't get a lot of time at Michigan. Javante, Marcus coming from JUCO and D2. So there's an adjustment period for that, and an acclimation process. You can work on it in practice all you want, but until there's people in the stands and the lights are on and there's officials and all that sort of stuff, you don't know what you got. And so you start to see us calm down. I mean, 18 assists is the big reason why you have 16 threes, and you're just seeing the discipline kind of come through. There's less thinking and more playing.
And then speaking of the 3-pointers, I remember last season you talking about how you guys needed to add shooting in the offseason. How good is it to see the shooting numbers through the first 3 games for you guys go way up so far this season?
Yeah, I think we did all right. Kind of fixing that. And credit to the staff. They did a phenomenal job, helping in that area. And a guy like Marcus Johnson, who I would argue might be the best shooter in the country. And every time it leaves his hands, you think it's going in. I don't even think he looks at the rim. And, you just right down the line, you're seeing, guys, I don't know how many, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 different guys made threes, and that's a big emphasis for us. And in our player development, these guys are getting shots up. They're shooting a ton. They're committed to it. They're pushing each other. It's a big part of the game. It's a really big part of the game. And when it's working like it has been, it's going to make us very difficult to guard.
I mean, we've talked a lot about scoring, but it felt like there was such an aggressive defensive style of play today. You guys were super aggressive defensively. You guys did a lot of full court presses today. What was the strategy behind that going into today's game?
Yeah, as you learn in the group, I think when we're on our heels and thinking, which I think we were a little bit reactionary at times, certainly against Davidson, and certainly against Southern Miss, and those are 2 very, very good offensive teams to start the year with. But when we were reactionary, I just didn't love it. I want to dictate the terms of the game, and if that means we're in scrambles and all that stuff, so be it. I'd much rather, just have guys flying around than sitting back on our heels and having them dictate the game.
And I mean, you guys scored so many points today that for a second there on the Stroh Center scoreboard, it said 0 because they weren't fully prepared of how many points you guys were you guys were going to score it. How did this like offensive game plan come together for you guys today to really make it so successful?
Yeah, I mean, it just honestly they share the ball. I mean, you see there wasn't a lot of selfishness. There's not a lot of poor decision making. Guys were creating open shots. I got 2 on me. I just give it to somebody else. They keep it real simple, and this group really loves each other. They've developed a cohesion, and now we've got turn that cohesion and to the style of play on the floor. And when we can get stops, we're a real problem on the break because there's so many weapons. So I think that led to a lot of it as well.
And how important do you think this game is as you head into like a very tough opponent in Michigan State on Saturday? Like, how important was this momentum game for you guys heading into that matchup?
Yeah, basketball's a momentum sport. I mean, it really is, but I think they just needed to see the results. Like, hey, if we do these things right, good results will happen. It's hard to, shoot 53 from the floor on 30 shots if you're in the gym by yourself, sometimes. But, but to see like, hey, if we take the good ones and we create for one another, there's going to be good results. I think that's really important for our momentum.
And can you talk a little bit about Sam Towns? Like, he just felt like he had so much energy today. How important has he been for this team this season?
Yeah, just a phenomenal defensive rebounder. When he's active, he's just a problem. He drew 3 fouls, got 3 assists. He's a very underrated playmaker, and can kind of be that Swiss Army knife, and he's really good at that role. So, he's a real important piece to what we do.
And then for the bench, last time out against Davidson, you guys had about 10 bench points today. You had about, I believe you guys had about like 52 points off the bench. Like, how important was that bench play today in this massive victory for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of those guys are getting reps, and getting comfortable. You saw it with Jamai and Braelon and Will and some of these guys. Dejan Humphreys coming off of an injury. He's still kind of working his way back, so we're being cautious with them. Preston kind of the same way. He's working his way back from an injury, but you can see the potential there. And Jackson does a great job when he comes in. He's working his way back from an injury, and so you see all those guys kind of getting comfortable, getting back into their game timing, and they'll be real assets for us.
Coach, earlier you talked about the success from 3-point on offense. I just wanted to highlight the defensive effort from 3. You guys held them to just 9%, 3 for 31. Can you just talk about the effort on the perimeter?
Yeah, and they were a good 3-point shooting team. We had 5 of their top 8 listed as shooters, and so we made a huge emphasis to being disciplined on taking away the arc and make them put on the ground and use our length at all those positions. And so the carryover to the game plan was something we were pretty proud of, and try to take away their strength and make them do something else, and the guys did a good job with that.
Touching a little bit upon that, that 21-0 run to end the first half. I think he forced 5 turnovers during that stretch. They were 0 for 4 from the field. I think he had 2 4-point plays, which you don't see quite often. Just how important was that strong finish to the first half for you guys as a team tonight?
Yeah, I mean, it's an important time. You talk about the beginning and ends of halves are 2 real important times in the game, because sometimes you can have a lull there, you can have some fatigue. And so, traditionally we've come out of the locker room very well, but we want to make sure we put an emphasis on finishing these halves out strong. We did a good job the last 4 minutes against Davidson to get us kind of back in a respectable place, and then had a good second half. But we've put an emphasis a little bit on that, and you could kind of see the pressure turned up a little bit there, and it was good to see.
And you talked about him already a little bit, but Marcus Johnson, his potential value to this team, obviously 5 for 6 from 3 tonight, 12 of 21 on the season. He had a nice assist there, I believe, early in the second half. And he also scored inside the 3-point line as well. Just his versatility and ability to shoot, what can he potentially bring, as the season goes along for you guys?
Yeah, he's kind of a nuclear weapon. When we recruited him, I said, this is the one that we circled. We had to have him. you know, and I didn't care who else is recruiting him or whatever else. We seen him as like, this is the guy we have to have because of his ability to change all of your coverages defensively. And if you switch and put smalls on him, he's very, very good in the post. And if you double him, he's really one of the best passers we have. You know, he's a tremendous passer, and he hasn't even had to really do that yet. And I view him as a big point guard, and you know, so we'll use him in that way. And you'll see him bringing the ball up the floor sometimes this year. You'll see all kinds of different things with him, and we're barely just touching the surface of what we want to do with him.
Awesome. Thanks, Coach.
Any other questions?
Now coming up, you guys have a big matchup at Michigan State. Can you just talk a little bit about that matchup and what you guys are looking forward to with that?
Yeah, I mean, it's always an honor and privilege to play a team of that caliber. They're one of the premier programs in all of college basketball, and Coach Izzo's the gold standard. And so just to see where we line up there, you know, you better bring your toughness. You better be ready to play absolute hard out because they're going to, and they're playing fast and they're going to be physical. So we need to match all those things, and then we've got to execute offensively. You know, it's going to be a real test to see how well we execute.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.